Kathleen. So,
Oh,
hello. Right then, so tell me a bit about yourself.
well, sort of in my 50s, trans, been about for years into punk rock, uh, way back, probably 1977 when I was about 10. I love the Pistols, love the whole madness behind it, and then obviously as I got on, developed, as age got on, I got into bands like The Clash, X-Ray Specs, particularly the Specials. I was at that age just at the right time, Selector, Beat, Cockney Rejects, Blitz and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
And just been into it ever since. Sort of, I could never play an instrument, can't sing, so I thought do the next best thing is do a fanzine and do a distro, and everything's just followed on from there, really.
Oh, I remember the distro. You did do a distro, didn't you? That's quite a while back, wasn't it?
Yeah, DIY distro, distribution. We did loads of stuff, but as time goes on, sort of people ripping people off and sort of people weren't so trusting anymore, giving records, and you had to pay for them up front, and in the end, people just weren't buying them anyway. So I just stopped it, and then just carried on with the fanzine and developing that from obviously paper. There was various names behind it: Stand Up and Fucking Fight Back, Revenge, Oi Revenge, Take a Look at Life. And then we finally we went on to Street Sounds. And then I think the name was Anne Marie, was doing Street Sounds on internet radio. So I sort of changed mine to Street Voice, so there was no confusion. And then it sort of picked up on loads of more focused in the beginning on women in punk and rock and stuff like that, indie bands and stuff like that. So we covered a whole line of bands from Biff Naked to Fabulous Disaster to obviously Bikini Kill, Sleater Kinney, stuff like that. And it just developed up into 2025 where it's sort of I only really interview and review and feature stuff I like, rather than we did do for a period of time trying to turn it into a part-time business, trying to get people involved, other stuff involved, but it just didn't sit right. There just wasn't the same feelings when you sort of go out and you see a new band and stuff like that, and you think, oh wow. And we're sort of into 2025. It's still going strong. We've got 37,000 emailing list. It was 75,000 at one point when we did, I think it was Lady Gaga, we featured her. I think that was back in 2008. But things drop off, people swap, but 37,000 global isn't bad. And then
Brilliant.
Obviously you get all the people who view it on social media, X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Instagram. So it is quite strong. I mean, we deal with quite a lot of people. It's been great. It's sort of great. You get to see loads of bands play, get to listen to loads of new music, and it's just brilliant. And obviously there's that thing of having a laugh, having a say, we've always done, and we've always had a say: anti-fascism, feminist, animal liberation stuff. Obviously the challenging the rape gangs and the myths behind that, and helping women escape domestic violence. So it is quite busy, on all this on top of a full-time job, which kind of subsidises it.
Yeah. And I feel like you've answered everything there. You've always got so much going on. I'm going to ask you about your activism and, and the miners' strike as well. Because isn't that what started you off? Isn't that where you started?
Yeah, it was, obviously, I've been on a YTS, and I was finishing the YTS, and I wasn't really like a lot of people at 16, weren't really focused too much on politics, but then you sort of like bumped into miners in the town centre and, you know, collecting money and they'd chat to you, and then you'd realise friends were losing, their dads were losing their jobs and stuff like that. And I thought it was important to get involved, and I got involved in it quite deeply when I finished the YTS. There wasn't much work going on in Telford. I mean, it was quite dead, 84, 85. So aside from cleaning builders' cars when they were on work sites, I went fly picketing with striking miners and all over, well, Yorkshire, Nottingham, mainly South Wales, to be fair, and then we go off there, you know, go off on a jaunt. It was quite good, and like the guy who used to take us down, he was into bands as well, so we'd probably focus in see some bands which I'd have never seen if it wasn't for him. So thank you, Michael. But yeah, it was quite powerful time. I sort of met Arthur Scargill.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I met Arthur a couple of times. I was at Orgreave when he got kicked off by the police. If it hadn't been for a striking miner, I'd have probably got my head kicked in by a copper on a horse. So, thank you again. Obviously, it was just because 16 and a half, 17, it was just naivety, you know. I'd never done nothing like that before. But I suppose a lot of them hadn't either. It was just, and then sort of one thing led on to the other. Bumped into like sort of people from class war and Red Action, and mainly got into anti-fascism. You know, sort of. I weren't really, you know, sort of interested in other stuff at that point. Because I lived at home, you know, I lived at home, I had no bills to pay, and give them a £5 a week rent or something like that. And that's, you know, and I just did the anti-fascism stuff because it was the people involved with, they were more down to earth.
Yeah.
There's more realism, and you can have a laugh and a joke and stuff like that without someone frowning and then ruling off the anarchist list book to you and stuff like that. And do's and don'ts. And I think, to a point, I think that's what sort of, if we move on today, I think that's what's alienated a lot of the working class. There's this gap which the anarchist movement and left-wing movement, you know, lefty movement, it's sort of like drifted away, and they've not taken these people with them. So all they've got left is reform, and we know what wrong uns they are. But desperate people, you know, cling on to anything which, you know, but they want to hear. Unfortunately, sort of the left and anarchist movement, they aren't really, they're so disconnected from the working class and reality that I think for a long time they spent too much time in meeting rooms and they never really got out there. I mean, in the 80s, you know, you'd say, even though people used to moan about the SWP, but at least they could have a conversation, and you'd see militant class war, SWP, maybe anarchist, you know, of anarchist groups. You'd see them outside markets or in the town centres every Saturday morning to early afternoon. But none of that happens now. They do the odd stall, and it's all about paper sales and getting numbers, and rather than connecting with people. People will listen if you can connect with them. Like, I'll take an example. We did door dropping for animal liberation stuff through just before COVID hit, and then when COVID hit and you couldn't do anything, I thought, well, you're still going to go out, and I did. I actually went out, and through COVID and a year and a half after, I did about 27,000 houses.
Bloody hell.
I did more than talk about animal liberation. I talked about class struggle politics. I talked about the problems people were having, and you could have a really good connection. You know, it was like people really wanted to talk. Because people were locked in and isolated, people wanted to talk. So you could give them leaflets and they go away, you know, sort of like people began to connect. I mean, people have said to me, they come to me in the town centre and said, if you had knocked on our door, we'd have voted reform. Because, it seems they're the only people who well, they are, they're just like spreading myths and lies, but people who believe what they want to hear.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got to really have a good alternative. It's no good just shouting racist at people and Nazi and stuff like that, because most of these people are just isolated. They just struggle because, you know, there's people who probably can't afford to go out, and fund school dinners and school trips and pay their bills, and their kids are going to school in second-hand clothes and stuff like that, and it's sort of people are really struggling out there, and I can understand that, sort of, cause I've been there myself, I struggle myself, but you've got to give these people hope, and you've got to give them something to think for, and unfortunately, nothing which connects, no one's connecting the dots with the working class, the masses, or whatever you want to call them. And I think we're going to get back on track and win them people over. Not just us, but the politicians as well. I mean, Starmer and all that, and they're just like, and the Tory leader, they're just a joke. They're just giving it to Nigel Farage. If they carry on the way they're doing, we're going to have a reform government in.
Because you've got to connect to people. You've got to have that emotional connection. You've got to resonate. And at the moment, nobody's having that connection, as you said. Jeremy Corbyn's getting out there, and I know his constituents in Islington really connect with him. He's been going out as an independent person, and he speaks to people. You see him in the cafes, you see him on the bus. He's like the only one I know that seems to do that. Even my kids at college know him. They're like, he was at our protest, because some of them go down to the protest. He was down at one of the, I can't remember which one it was. It was either a Gaza one or a trans one, but he was down there. Like, where was everybody else?
It's sort of like, even with the trans issues, they go on about, rights restricted. No rights have been restricted. All they've done is just protect women's spaces. It was quite weird, because I was walking past the Birmingham demo which they had for trans rights. In the middle was a guy, woman or whatever they want to call themselves, I've never asked their pronouns, but they said they were trans, and they stood with Tommy Robinson going, kick out Muslims out of the UK and stuff like that, we don't want them. He was, or she, I said, I don't know their pronouns, they had a beard anyway, and they stood with Tommy Robinson. And I was thinking, how can you stand on the demo talking about people's rights when you were trying to stir up hate against the Muslim community? People were going, to me, they said, they throw you off the bus and throw you off bridges and stuff like that. Well, when I go over a Muslim community in Birmingham in particular, London, when I go down there, I used to go over Brick Lane and stuff like that, and, other places. And I'm always welcome, sort of, I go into restaurants, eat in buy from their shops, and speak to people, say hello and stuff like that, have chats, even, sort of like when people say, women with burqas and stuff like that, hijabs, and, I have conversations with these people, nice, decent conversation, sort of, sort of like, I don't disconnect myself from anybody. If anybody wants to chat, I'll chat, and I love to talk, so it works well, really. Yeah, that's, I'm sort of like very much into community stuff, sort of like talk to a lot of people in the community. I sort of, you just have to connect, sort of drinking working class pubs and backstreet pubs, sort of, that's what I prefer, sort of like fancy bars, paying £7 a £8 a bar. Yeah, I mean, everything's sort of gone up. I was moaning in the shop about how much they were charging the other day for stuff, and I was like, I can remember even 10 years ago stuff wasn't this high.
Yeah, definitely. It's
£1 million for a bag of crisps, you know, and I'm thinking, oh my God.
oh, don't. Even my oldest son's noticed it. He's going 5 years ago, Mum, because he's quite good at maths, and he's like, even from an early age, he sort of noticed numbers. He's going, the prices have really gone up, haven't they, Mum? And I'm like, yeah, they really have, but nobody's wages have gone up, you know, and we're getting taxed more. I'm getting taxed more. Oh, don't get me started on the tax.
I mean, I'm probably on less now than I was on in 1998.
And the price have gone up more than 1998.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't afford a mortgage now. I couldn't get a mortgage ladder. I couldn't afford to rent a house.
Oh.
I mean, you know, there's houses up by me going for about 800-900 quid a month, or sometimes
Jesus.
1,000, and
Yeah.
I'm like thinking, God, you know, I only take home 1,600 quid a month. That doesn't leave you nothing after the bills.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
Leaves you absolutely nothing.
It's just
It's
shocking.
crazy. And I can understand why people are desperate, and why we need to change tact. Even the punk scene, it's sort of it's not rebellious anymore, really. It's sort of not. There's nothing. No one's really doing anything. It's sort of it's all a bit plinkety plonk. You know, everybody going, woohoo, another gig, another night, and woohoo, wasn't it great? And you know, it's sort of you know, there's bands in sort of Germany who are sort of organising, who sort of like, even sort of more mainstream bands are taking anti-fascism to the mainstream and stuff like that, you know, taking that argument. But in Britain, we just stand there going, oh, entertain us. And I don't know.
It's just not.
I know what the answer is. It's for people need to get up and grow a pair, and sort of like stop being frightened, you know, and sort of get out there. And I know everybody moans, you know, I think we moan at people who moan on social media, but we also do the same ourselves.
Yeah.
Within the punk scene and politico scene. You know, it's sort of like, but we really need to get out there and try and change things for the better. Yeah, even with trans issues, using male spaces. I mean, people used to ask questions when you use the toilet, and it's usually involved with them buying you a couple of drinks. So I'd be like, yeah, this is great, and everything. I used to have to buy around because like everybody's buying me drinks. And then post-COVID, I don't know, I've just think people just got sick of talking. I don't know. I do try and talk to people. I do try and talk to people in the streets. People, when I'm taking photos and stuff like that, people want to know what I'm doing, and I'll sort of pretend to film and you know, sort of talk about stuff, and people sort of like think, I really never thought about things that way.
Yeah, and that's what you need, really. You need to like actually speak to the people.
Yeah, because people, I think people seem to. I mean, I think it's become this narrative now to blame immigrants for everything. The sort of refugees, particularly those who come over on boats.
Oh, it really gets my back up because, as you know, my grandmother came over on a boat. It's like, send them back. They've come over on the boats. And I'm like, you know, it triggers me a bit. You know, it's.
Yeah, it's sort of shocking, the mentality, and you have to explain to people, saying, well, even if this do cost a little bit, they aren't costing as 100 or 1,000 as much as all the tax fiddles from the big businesses.
Oh, definitely.
People go off to buy Amazon, go off to Costa Coffee, go off to Starbucks, and they go Vodafone, all these companies who don't pay tax, and I says, and a lot of these people, you know, sort of CEOs, multi-millionaires, billionaires, and they're all tax avoiders.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's like you tell people that as well. It's like it's not immigration and the royal family. I tell you, I feel like I've got to be careful what I say about the royal family, because like people are, oh, the royal family, oh, we love Kate and thingy Bob. Like, you know, it's like, how much are they taking? How much taxpayers' money are they taking? And for what reason? They have money. They already have money. You know.
Yeah, it's sort of like people, the rich just want more, and they're getting it, and we're just getting poorer, and people. It's like that cartoon thing where you got the boss tells the worker the refugee stealing your one cookie while he's sat there with about 50 odd cookies on a plate, and people need to realise who actually the real enemy is. And when you explain to people, when you put in layman's terms, they'll think, yeah, you're right. But I said, what are you going to do about it? I said, you need to get out, talk to your friends and explain to them, and that's the only way you sort of change things is by people spreading that message.
Yeah.
So otherwise, we are just going to have a reformed government. Like if you've got so many people saying fuck Nigel Farage, and I'm like thinking, well, no point saying fuck Nigel Farage. You need to change your friends. Oh yeah, but we don't really like to talk politics. But then you sit there talking politics on Facebook. So why not with your friends?
Yeah.
It's a simple solution.
I guess as well.
The more people sort of turn away from Farage, the better. I mean, if people, we've all got to face a reality instead of pointing the finger at people a lot worse off than us. Because I sort of work with refugees, and they ain't got bloody big houses and flash cars, which is claimed, and they live in holes which no English person would live in ever. They just, when I lived down Margate, they lived in decrepit hotels, and it's sort of it's not living a life of luxury, driving around in a Daimler or a Roller or top of the range BM. They're living from hand to mouth, and it's just like shocking.
Yeah, it is shocking. It's really bad. It really is bad. Who's been your favourite an artist to interview and photograph?
Oh God! Do you know what? My favourite band to interview and photograph, I'd say ever, is, oh God, what am I going to say? I'd say Hayseed Dixie.
Oh yeah, why's that?
They do bluegrass versions of rock songs and punk songs. I can't think John. I can't think of his last name. The vocalist, and he's sort of founder of the group. I met him last year. I've been watching videos of theirs for years. I thought these are amazing, and he gave a really good interview, and he was really wasn't pretentious. So he just said like, if you want to listen to music, listen to it. Go and check it out. If you don't. And, if you come and see us, that's even better. It was just like they're a really fun band, I think, and I suppose there's been other artists. CJ Wildheart, a really nice bloke, down to earth, great music. Biff Naked, Canadian artist. There's been loads of stuff, but that's just a few. What else? I'd say I've Bad Religion. That was a quite decent interview I did with them years ago, considering they were quite pretentious as everybody else. Yeah, there's been loads of bands, but they're the ones who stick to. I suppose AC Dixie, yeah, definitely, because the interview was great. I had a diabetic attack.
Oh no!
During the interview, they give me some Coca-Cola, that cocaine. And I saw an excellent live set which brought loads of people from all over the place together. You're both young and old, and sort of from the ages of 14 to about 70. Punks, skins, goths, orders. And I suppose another good gig, which was like Tension Town, was Conflict, Brixton Academy, the Gathering of 5,000 with Benjamin Zephaniah, Thatcher and Acid and stuff. That was like a really powerful gig.
God, when was that?
That's 1985 when the riot, I think it was 1985, or was it 1985 or 1986 when the riot kicked off in Brixton, when the police attacked the punks to show they didn't just attack black people.
Yeah,
that's another memorable gig. There's been so many. Bowling for Soup, when I first interviewed Bowling for Soup. They were good. They were a good laugh, good time. There's been loads. I mean, I could rattle bands off all today. But AC Dixie's probably the most fun interview, and going to see him after, and probably I'd say that's my best. And that was only last year, and I hadn't really heard much of him. I just went off the back of what a friend was saying. He said, go and watch him. So I did.
I'm convinced they were on Jules Holland at one point.
They could have been.
Yeah.
They could have been.
Yeah.
They could have been. They play both small and big venues up and down. So they all seem to be touring over here now, which is good.
Oh, definitely, because the Brexit thing made everything a bit weird.
Oh, but it is. It's just a bit weird for bands, sort of even. I can understand why bands don't come here to play, or they do very little, because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
So sort of against bands like AC Dixie. I think. Who else? Can't even think of their name. There's been loads of bands, and I don't want to name any more just in case I forget to others. The Hellflowers, I think they are from America. Rumjack's really good live.
Boom Boom Womb. Boom Boom Womb.
Oh yeah, Boom Boom. Yeah. I can't forget Boom 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 Boom. Fantastic band, rock girl band, and that's. I said I didn't want to miss it, but they're really good people. They're all really good at doing what they do. I mean, Jemima is just like she's just so diverse. She plays in a jazz band, a pop band. She does acoustic covers.
Nice.
The drummer, Remy, she's got an amazing voice as well. She plays for another band called Chasing Mallory, like an emo rock band, and they're quite good actually. I saw them last year. They're a fantastic band, and they're playing in London, Hoxton, this month. I think it could be this week. Probably well worth a watch. Other bands, sort of local bands, I quite like Weekend Dad. They're like an indie. They're like a sort of indie cross with a American pop punk, a Weezer and stuff like that. Okay. And the Fabulous Campaign, they're like a really good band. They cross 60s sort of sound with sort of late 70s, early 80s power pop, but with a modern feel. Imagine the Kinks more popped up, and there you get them. I've mentioned the Hellflowers. There's loads of bands. Bad Skin are on tour this week. They're playing in London, I think, Thursday or Saturday. Bad Skin. They're French-Canadian.
Okay.
They're a really good band. They played the Rebellion. They played the Rebellion last year. I think that's when I saw them last year in Shrewsbury. It's just been loads of bands, sort of. And I think the best thing is if people want to listen to new music, you just go on YouTube and just check out new stuff. That's all I do. Check out new stuff and then follow up which I like. And it's quite. I mean, I used to rely on MySpace because I was considered quite influential by the music business. In the O's, what bands I was reviewing, what bands I was putting on live in Margate, and we actually had people come down for record labels to check out artists.
Which record labels were you connected to?
everybody from Sony to, even small labels, big labels, but Sony, like, were quite Universal Music Group were quite good at sending people down. I mean, people just used to come down for the jolly as well. They'd be a free beer, but they used to check out bands, and they used to, a couple of people, they'd follow-ups and stuff like that. After that, sort of never chased anything up. So, there's a couple of bands I did do, which went on quite well. Skint, I put them on when they were fairly in their embryo stages. Put Dirty Revolution on. They were fantastic ska, punk, reggae dub band.
Yeah, I remember them. Do they still give you Dirty Revolutions, or am I? I lose track,
Now. Completely removed from ska and punk and stuff. It's really weird alternative stuff in South Wales.
Okay.
Cardiff. There are loads of good bands to check out. I quite like Hot Wax.
Okay.
They're like a cross between a rock girl band and a grunge punk band. They're really good. There's just loads of stuff. People just need to go out and just check stuff. I mean, I listen to a lot of stuff from Germany, like the Broilers, Die Totenhosen, Tina. There's just so much stuff there as well. And I've really got a passion for German bands who really sort of turn it on and, do some really powerful stuff at times. And they put out some really good, powerful videos. So look to Germany. That's where it's at. Yeah, I've only ever been there twice, and I sort of loved it. I took that ethos back to England, where if you have bands play, just give them free beer, just give them a crate of Stella and a bottle of Jack Daniels and treat them, give them food, that's how I used to do gigs. Anybody travel for my gigs, they used to get free booze, free food, and we used to accommodate bands as well. I used to put bands, and I was considered by bands like Red Alert to be the best promoter in the UK. Because that's what I was doing, Sometimes I was doing something completely, I weren't ripping people off, and we were paying bands even if we lost loads.
What period was this, Kathleen?
It's in the O's. From about 2006 till about 2010, I did gigs. So I did over that.
I'm trying to think of when I started, like, going out there and gigging. So it must have been 2005, and for God knows, it's like a bit of a blur that time. And then I had my children, and that's even bigger blur. Like trying to juggle being in a band and gigs, and it's all been a bit of a mad ride.
I mean, Telford. I mean, it's got a scene, but people who go and see bands need to stop watching all the bands instead of watching a mate's band.
That's been going on since the dawn, though, hasn't it? That's been going on since as long as I can think.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of met all these bands like Boom Boom Woom and Weekend Dad and Jess Payne and Arsewolf through. It was just going to a Steve Earle's gig in Shrewsbury, and Boom Boom Woom supporting one of the bands. I think they were supporting the Rumours.
Yeah.
American garage rock and roll band, and that was a fantastic gig. But sadly, Steve doesn't do them in Shrewsbury anymore because no one showed up. Sometimes it's just me, Steve, and some guy from the local. If people don't go, they lose it, and they've lost it.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe, there's over 3,000 people in the local punk group, and none of them turned up to gigs unless they were playing.
Yeah.
And I think that's it's not going to happen in the end. He just got sick of it and just went somewhere else.
I get that.
The audience a bit more. He's got a bigger audience to play to.
No, I
bringing bands
that.
over here, and they can, and they're coming over from places like America. At least you want us to play to someone.
Yeah, not like two men and a dog,
Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I understand why he did it. Why he did. It's just a shame that unless I travel, I won't get to see any of these bands again. But A couple I'm going to travel to Preston to see, but again, by the time you've paid the train fare, which is about 60 quid, another 60 quid for a hotel, that's 120 quid before you've even started having a drink or got something to eat or bought a record from a gig, because I still buy stuff from gigs and stuff, still the people are selling it, unless they give it to me, but, other times I just buy stuff. I think it's important that because people won't release music otherwise if people don't buy it. I mean, too many people are quite happy just to spend £10 a month for getting it off one of these download sites, and but I'm not really into that.
I try and buy stuff. I try and buy stuff whenever I can, or I don't subscribe to anything. I just
I'm a vinyl addict. I can't walk past a record shop.
Oh, you have to come down.
I do like records, and I do like CDs, but I prefer vinyl.
You have to come down to Sound of the Suburbs if you get a chance to come down this way. But it's a bit far out though. It is. Don't know if you know Ruislip in London, sort of West London.
Yeah. It is. I used to go to that one in Camden. I don't know if it's still there.
All Ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still there as far as I know. Okay. I've not been there in a long time, but yeah. It's good there a lot.
Record shop. I used to buy from there when I used to go down London. Because I used to like Camden Town. I used to think it was great. I met Amy Winehouse there. Six. Another amazing band, and sort of like at the highs and lows, and really, really positive band with a message. They're probably, which band should really like, whoa, I was just like, when I first saw the Jewel, I was like, whoa, this should be massive, but people just didn't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Tara play it. So she puts these gigs on her and Sakes every month on Cosm Street, and it's like a studio, and she puts different bands on and stuff. And I saw her play, and it was just her with like the recorded, like the band had been recorded, and she was singing. Yeah. It was really, really good. It was really good. Like, and the messages in the songs are really powerful.
Yeah, that song I saw was a couple of years ago, but I mean, I think they were supporting Spear of Destiny. There was I can't even think his name, from King Kurt, who was guitarist. He was there in the beginning. Oh God, I can't even think of his name. Oh, and that was like a really good. And everybody said, "Look, what an amazing set."
Yeah.
And I think like there's some really, really good bands out there. Sort of like. People go, and you can just go and see them. Okay, it might be a tenner to get in, but it's better than sitting in the house, and because humans, we aren't designed to sit in the house. So we're quite sociable creatures, and I think I'd go out during COVID. I mean, I didn't bother with any restrictions. I was going all over the country.
I was on the fence with that one. I didn't know what to think. I'd never heard of anything like it. Didn't know what to think, but I wish I'd have, broken the rules a bit more.
Yeah, I think COVID was definitely there, but I'll tell you a scenario right now. I got poisoned during COVID.
Oh, I remember that.
I got poisoned, and trying to get into the doctors and everything like that, I literally had to crawl into a doctor's, and I had to call an ambulance. The head doctor didn't have me in hospital, and they sort of fixed me up, and I didn't eat properly for about 3 months. And there's still foods I can't eat now, even though I used to enjoy them. Even now, it just sort of like sends my stomach into mayhem. But it's, I remember I was going through all this stuff, and I was thinking, oh my God! And then I had I was struggling with the diabetes as well, and then I sort of went out for a Mother's Day meal when COVID was up at 19. I was called COVID from a hotel.
Oh no!
And to be honest, it didn't. I was that rough anyway. I didn't even feel it.
Bloody
You know,
hell.
it was sort of like,
God.
it went for the test, and in the end, I was just like, I just carried on because there was no point. And I was like thinking, okay, certain people died from it, but that was through other issues, you know.
Yeah.
For most people, they survived COVID even when they got when they got it. I just think it was just a really, really bad flu type thing. But you know, we've always had them.
Yes, yeah. It's
But yeah, as I said, I was going all over the country, and because you go all over the country on the train for nothing, because no one was checking for tickets.
Yeah, oh, do you know what? I missed the trick there, but like, because I was still working. I was at a school at the time, and then I had my kids and all that, and it's all just very, very weird, very weird.
Yeah, we got stopped in Gloucester. We were checking badger sets to help stop the call and make sure the sets were still in place. And the police come up to two of us and they said, just ignore them. And they were asking us where we were. We just ignored them, carried on eating our chips and walking. And in the end, they just give up.
Oh, my God.
We went back to the train station, hopped on the train, and then we went to a bar in Birmingham, and there was only about four of us in there, like, and everybody was just like so separated. It was like beyond real, and we had this conversation. In the end, we just got sodded, like, you know, if you're gonna catch it, you're gonna catch it.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was well overplayed. I think.
Oh, definitely.
I think that's what's helped. That's what's helped damage the economy and fucked everybody up.
Oh my God, yeah. And do you know what? You saw people on the news going, "Oh, I've got more money now. You know, I'm not going out. I've saved lots." And I thought, yeah, that's it. They're going to put the prices up, and we're going to pay the price for all of that. So.
Well, I mean, people say they saved lots, but they didn't really, because they went and did all DIY and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know.
They spent all their money on DIY, and it's just like really weird. All these people going to spend all this money on these turning their sheds into beer sheds, into bars and stuff like that. And I think the only person I know who uses this is Tom Alpin.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know anybody else who does. They all, you know, sort of all. They either don't go out and they just sit there with their 4 packs or a bottle of wine. But I sort of like, I used to have workmates around and stuff like that. And then when we were all furloughed, and then we'd send pictures into work waving to everybody and stuff like that.
Before I shut everything down, like, is there anything we don't know about Kathleen Riot?
I don't know really. I sort of like spent a fair couple of about 5 years rescuing women from domestic violence situations. I get wealthy friends to cough up money for rent, 3 to 6 months rent, and a deposit on places, furnish them and stuff like that. You did that. I had to pack it in because obviously health, with the heart attack and the health thing, I can't do it. It's sort of like, it's just madness because I got shot out once, and yeah.
I know, do you know, it's hard. Because remember I did the whole Punks Against Domestic Abuse. I mean, I started to get, like, really proper threatening messages through that, and that's why I stopped doing it, and I shut down my profile that had connected with it. And it wasn't just the perpetrators, it was like the women who were connected with that as well. Like, they'd gone to new partners, and the new partners would be like, you know, shut your fucking mouth, and he's not like that, and stuff. I've not been shot at as yet, but it messes with your psychology.
It could be worse. I mean, for me, it was like it was a crossbow, and he wasn't very good with it.
Well, that's a good job, isn't it, really?
The driver was ex-Special Forces. He was on the ball, and he sort of disarmed him, and it was like quite a scary time, you know. Even, you know, I don't know whether he was shooting me or his ex-wife, but that was like a mad situation because I never knew where they lived either, or where they moved to. So in case someone found out where I lived and started hassling me and stuff like that, so I wouldn't know where these people lived. Yeah. And I still don't.
It's hard.
Someone else sorted that out via a friendly solicitor. And I sort of get, used to get updates and stuff, but people just move on, But it started raining now. It's going to have thunder in a minute. Just listening to the dogs just got out just to piss me off. But going back to it, it was quite rewarding. And then sort of people, we had about 20 people who put up a fair lot of money. They didn't have to put up a fair lot of money, but they did do, because it was the right thing to do. And they were all very wealthy people, nice houses and stuff like that. And all these women, and some of them are children, ever be gratitude to them. And I mean, gratitude to them people for giving that money, because it wouldn't have happened otherwise. And then people probably still been in the violent situations they were trying to escape.
Yeah.
So, did that, and I'm into obviously vegan animal liberation. But yeah, I think what you need. I love clothes. I spend too much on clothes. I love shopping. I've always loved clothes, even back years and years ago. I just love clothes, and I can't walk past clothes shops without buying something.
Oh, do you know what? I love your outfits. Like, you're online, you look at, you show your shoes and like dresses and stuff you've bought, and you just really.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I do spend a fair bit, but other times I may just spend. Someone said to me, "Oh, the dress you had on yesterday was amazing."
Yeah.
I paid £5 for it from an Indian shop.
That's a good bargain, that is.
And I'm thinking, when you're talking about £5, if I see something now, I buy it. Because I've had some regrets where I've seen something like that, thinking, oh shit, it's gone now. And they're not doing it my size anymore. So if I buy something and I really like, I'll just go and buy it now. Even if I don't have a drink for the weekend. Well, I don't really drink now anyway, because of all these health reasons. And so that's about it. I hope it's been a productive hour.
Thanks for coming and talking to me. That was Kathleen Riot from Street Voice. We were Punk Rock Creators Podcast. Thank you for listening. See you next time.